meeting and fellowship. Just want to welcome you to our Monday, November 21st, 2022 meeting here at the beautiful Nash Center with our featured speaker today, Hall of Famer Dave Robinson. On behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Board of Directors of the Pro Football Hall of Fame Luncheon Club, I hereby call to order the 11th meeting of the 60th year of the Pro Football Hall of Fame Luncheon Club. Our invocation, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance, will be given by Club Treasurer Tim Richard. Tim? Please stand.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to meet here as we celebrate, a little bit belated, but Veterans Day, Lord, and we want to honor all those who served and those who are currently serving. Our Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the blessings you give us. We pray over the food and drink that we are about to partake. Please nourish it to our bodies. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our introduction of special guests, as Tim alluded, we are honoring our veterans, and I know we have many in the audience, so please stand, both our current at our reserve table here and all club members and invited guests today who are veterans. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you so very much for your service in every branch. Outstanding. Tim will have a special presentation a little later. Our introduction of our special guests. Down here in front, Sam Perquin is a little under the weather today, so running shotgun and solo is TJ Downing here in the front with Start Media. You're going to be hearing about our two veterans, but again, the veterans who are here at our reserve table and listed personnel, thank you again for being here and being part of our celebration today. Very much appreciated. Over at our head table today, introducing our featured speaker will be Jim Smith. Jim is from the Hall of Fame here. He is Business Development Manager and Hall of Famer Relations Person. So he's the point man for Hall of Famers coming and visiting Canton whenever they can. This is their home. Recognition of our club sponsors. We have 4 this year. Our corporate sponsors are AultCare's Primetime Health, Dr. Peter Ferguson, Wilkshire Golf Course, and Liberty Ford. Again, we thank them for their help and financial support. I've been asked to announce because of our how can I put this nicely? Because all of us have some issues with mobility to some degree or another. Please remember that in exiting today and in coming, if you're coming to the next 2 that are here at the Nash Center, please use these doors. They are the closest to here. They don't want you to have to negotiate the ramps and stuff through the hall. So we've been asked to make that announcement. When you leave today, if you're in the parking lot, you may exit here where most of you came in, or there is an exit right here to the parking lot as well, to the left of the stage. Okay. At this time, we have a specially prepared video presentation from the Hall of Fame for our veterans, and it will be shown on the front screen here only.
Great in the National Football League, there's so many parallels.
Before he ever became an NFL owner, Ralph Wilson Jr. served as a lieutenant commander in the Navy from 1941 to 1946 on minesweepers in the Mediterranean Sea, as well as the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. He was awarded 13 medals, including the Commendation Medal, given for sustained acts of heroism or meritorious service. But it was in his last post, as commanding officer of the minesweeper USS Pickett, he was honored by Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park with the unveiling of a new display to honor the memory and naval career of Lieutenant Commander Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Ralph Wilson Jr. was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2009. We salute him for his service to the nation and the game he loved.
Wellington Mara of the New York Giants, whose father founded the Giants, he served during World War II, as did Bud Adams, as did Ralph Wilson. And I want to mention Ralph Wilson for a moment. I've known Ralph since I was a little tyke, but the room across from this room is the Ralph Wilson Research and Preservation Center. Ralph is a member of the Hall of Fame and a great beneficiary of the Hall of Fame. But more importantly, Ralph during World War II served in both the Pacific and Atlantic theaters. And as a matter of, and this was literally, he was in his late 80s when I was talking to him about this, because he very rarely spoke of his military service. He was on a minesweeper, which is a wooden boat waiting to be blown up. And Ralph served, as I say, both theaters of war. But not only that, but in the conversation with Ralph, I find that he was one of the first responders after the attack at Pearl Harbor. He was in the Pacific, and they called him and sent him in. It was after the attack that he was one of the first responders. Then later on, he was the first American to set foot in Hiroshima after the bomb had been dropped. He was again sent in with his little minesweeper to take and observe the damage. He told me, he said, I didn't know if they were going to greet me or shoot me when I got there. But he said, truly the devastation was unbelievable. And then finally, because he was on leave at the time, he was invited to join the Missouri, joined for the signing of the surrender of the Japanese. So when you think about it, he was at the three most iconic moments in World War II, Pearl Harbor, Hiroshima, and the surrender of the Japanese. When he was telling me this, I said to his wife, I said, Ralph was the original Forrest Gump.
Marv Levy viewed life as one big, inspiring dream. His father, Sam Levy, first inspired him when he enlisted and fought in World War I.
You're 16 years old, actually had been picked as the outstanding prep basketball player in the city of Chicago that year. Still had a year, maybe two left in high school. World War I broke out. He enlisted in the Marines, yes. My father, Sam, fought, he was a Marine during World War I, fought, was wounded and gassed at the Battle of Belleau Wood, an iconic Marine Corps battle that France renamed Belleau Wood the Woods of the United States Marines.
Marv followed his father, enlisting in World War II right after high school.
This is a picture taken of me in 1944 when I was in service as a member of the Army Air Corps. It took a terrible war to provide the sequel to those hallowed words, all men are created equal. In the years that followed, we continued to fight to make it not matter whether you were black or white. As the years kept passing, we continued to grow. Newcomers came from Kenya and Mexico, others from China, Puerto Rico, or Ecuador, and some from countries we've never heard of before. Our making has changed as the years have gone by, but for reasons we can't be proud of, that's why. How do we refer to you? What name do we call? The answer to that is, we are Americans all, and that's what I believe.
With a strong desire to serve his country in World War II, Edmund would enlist in the United States Coast Guard in the spring of 1943. Stationed aboard the USS Edmund in the South Pacific, The stories of Tennell's bravery and heroics have come to light over time.
He was on a destroyer that got torpedoed by the Japanese. He dove down 10 stories into the water and he saved a fellow.
10 years ago, I stumbled upon Emlyn Tennell and his story, and really we didn't know about what his contributions were in the Coast Guard. So they went back and they looked at his record, and in his record, they actually found a citation basically for a silver life-saving medal for a different incident in 1946, and found out that he had saved a shipmate's life on board the USS Edmund, and he put him out with his own hands. He obviously burned himself. So a silver life-saving medal is one of the highest awards that can be given to a Coast Guard person for putting themselves in peril in order to save someone else's life. And that's exactly what he did. You know, he is an amazing piece of our history. Saving 2 lives, guardian ethos, honor, respect, devotion, and duty. He hits all the marks.
And sure enough, in 1948, Emlyn Tennell became the first African American to suit up for Big Blue, bursting onto the scene as the Giants' new punt return specialist and defensive back.
We're talking about the first defensive player to ever be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. We're talking about the Coast Guard naming a cutter ship after him. So we're very proud of Emlyn Tennell, very proud of Eastern Delaware County, and we think that this is going to be nothing but a celebration in his life, and it'd be hard pressed to find somebody that's more deserving than Emlyn Tennell.
Emlyn Tennell still ranks second all-time in the NFL with 79 interceptions. He made the Pro Bowl 9 times in his career and won 2 NFL championships. In 2010, Big Blue would pay tribute by inducting him into the inaugural class of the Giants Ring of Honor.
He was a great football player, a great man, and a great American.
And a lot of folks don't realize this, but in the history of the National Football League, more than 1,200 men had served their country during times of war. Now that's a pretty remarkable thing, because a lot of people think of athletes avoiding the draft or avoiding military service. These are men that served during World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the Middle East. And of that, we had 21 casualties, gave their lives for their country during World War II. We had 2 who died in Vietnam, and we had 1 who died recently in the Middle East conflict, who's up in uniform over here is Pat Tillman. The other one over here on my right, I do want to mention that's Arthur Donovan, one of our Hall of Famers. And when we got that from Art weighed about 270 pounds, and I asked him whose child it was that wore that. Because Arthur certainly couldn't fit in the day that he gave it to us. But he was a Marine, and when he was a Marine, he fit very well. But we had a lot of Hall of Famers who distinguished themselves during military service. I mentioned the 21 who gave their lives in World War II. One was a gentleman named Al Blozis, who played with the New York Giants. When he was with the Giants, he played in the 1941 championship game, and 5 weeks later, he died serving his country. He left right after the game. We've also had, as I mentioned, or I didn't mention, but we had 3 Medal of Honor recipients who served in the, who played in the NFL. Jack Loomis, Maurice Britt, and Joe Foss, who I mentioned.
I want to thank all those brave people that have served and continue to serve our country. From the firefighters to the paramedics, to the men and women in law enforcement. Those that lay on the line every day for all of us. Please say this, that my family got rest easy at night underneath the canopy of freedom that you deploy. I am eternally grateful, and I salute you. Thank you.
At this time, I'll ask Tim Richard to come back up and introduce our military.
I can't tell you what an honor it is when my wife and I go on cruises, we always go to the military services like this. And I know sometimes it's difficult for me. I served 2 years in the Army, but I went to Germany. And I said, you know, I never got shot at there, but I did get shot at once as a police officer, so I guess I'm okay. But, you know, sometimes I hear those stories. And Jim Mitchell, who used to be our club president, he honored our military veterans when he was the president. And I remember we had a World War II veteran, many from Vietnam, Korea. So I'm very honored. We did have some Marines that sent in bios. They were supposed to be here, but they must be busy recruiting. They got a head start on the Army here today. I want to introduce our 2 Army men. Okay, Staff Sergeant Christopher Avey, would you please stand? Thank you. Christopher is from the Akron area. He was born and raised in Ohio. I didn't ask him if he was a Buckeye fan. I hope he is. But he was assigned to the tanker division. He trained other soldiers in Abraham tanks. And he has been assigned to Africa, Kenya, well, I'm losing it. Kuwait, Poland, Germany, and Korea. And we thank you for your service. The other is Staff Sergeant Timothy Allen. Born in California, but raised in Arizona. He said he'd use Arizona. He's an Apache weapons specialist who has served in Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea, and Germany. And I thank both of you for your service, and all the veterans out there, thank you for yours too. Thank you.
We are back here on Monday, December 12th at the Nash Center. And tickets will go on sale for just 2 weeks. So next Monday and the following Monday, we will be starting this sale. So be there before, starting at 10. We will have people to sell you tickets. Same cost as it has been, whether you're at Tozzi's or here. Please remember to mark your calendars. December 12th will be our 3rd of 4 that are here. Again, tickets. For that one, it will be Hall of Famer Donnie Shell from the class of 2020. Of course, he was a Steeler, 5-time Pro Bowler, Steelers team MVP, and played in 201 Steelers games. On to our raffle tickets. Now we have 2 different raffles today. Dave is going to have the honor of selecting both. The first one is the 50-50, and it is going to be for $213. Wade Hostetler will be there, so if you're the winner, please raise your hand. So thank you, RJ, for your help. I'm going to bring the winning ticket to the podium and announce that. And then our second one is for the Browns tickets. They are 2 tickets to the Browns. If you are the winner of that one, you'll need to see RJ after today's luncheon. RJ's right there getting both winners selected. If you have a red ticket at your table, you should not have it. Does anyone have a red ticket that needs to be turned in for the drawing of the Browns tickets? Okay, maybe. All right. First is the 50-50. The winning ticket for today's 50-50 of 213 is number 67037 373. Right back there, wave to your left, raise your hand please. There's the winner for the 50-50. And the way we did the Hall of Fame luncheon for the Browns tickets was your number was recorded by your name, and our winning ticket number is 110. 110. You were a fish eater today. Stand. Bill Adams, you are the winner. Where's Bill? Right back there. Okay, so Bill, see RJ here at the end of the meeting, and he'll get you hooked up with the tickets, okay? All right, now on to our serious business today. To introduce today's speaker is someone from the hall here. His name is Jim Smith, and his title is Business Development Manager and Hall of Famer Relations. Jim?
Dave and I looked at each other after that very patriotic presentation and said, well, how do you follow that? So thank you to the veterans for your service and to our current service members. And as a father of a U.S. Marine aviator currently, I extend again appreciation for everything you do. So allow me to join those and welcome you to the Pro Football Hall of Fame today and express our sincere appreciation for your attendance. I also want to send you best wishes for a safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving. I can with great sincerity tell you today that it is an honor and a privilege to introduce our guest. It's a privilege to represent the Hall of Fame and Hall of Fame relations today, and always an honor to introduce one of the game's greatest. After an All-American season at Penn State University, our guest today, Dave Robinson, was a first-round draft choice of the Green Bay Packers in the 1963 draft, which ironically was held in December of 1962. Dave was also drafted by AFL teams and in the Canadian Football League as well. At one point in that process, Dave actually thought he might end up playing in San Diego, but apparently not much of a climate change for he actually spent his first 10 years of his career, which was Green Bay, Wisconsin. Okay. Dave became an anchor of what some experts consider the greatest left side defense in NFL history. It included Dave at linebacker and future Hall of Famers Willie Davis and Herb Adderley. Dave played 12 NFL seasons, 155 games, was a member of 3 NFL championship teams and 2 Super Bowl championship teams. Dave was selected to 3 Pro Bowls and is a member of the NFL's all-decade team of the 1960s. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor and a privilege to present to you Class of 2013 Pro Football Hall of Famer, Dave Robinson.
Please silence your cell phones. I forgot that announcement.
Thank you very much. I tell you, it's a real pleasure to be here, especially when thank you guys for your services. I had a little bit of time in the military. Well, not really. I did ROTC. And I was in the Air Force ROTC. This is come out today. But anyway, the whole time I was there, I never hit the drill field because they couldn't find shoes to fit me. And then when they found the shoes, our coach at Penn State said, how come you come late to practice? And why not go to the drill field? He said, no, you're not. And so as I can tell you, I dropped out of ROTC with the help of my coaches, and that was it. But it was a strict time, a great time. 1963 was a very interesting time in my life. Not only did I graduate from college and whatnot, but I got married that year and everything else. I started dating my wife in high school, and she came my junior year in high school, and we were playing basketball at that time. I played basketball. In fact, I played 4 sports my last 3 years in high school, so I ended up getting 12 letters. But we were walking down the street after the game, in 1957, on your first date, you always had to be a double date with the good girls. I didn't deal with the bad girls. So I don't know what they did. But there's four of us going down the street. She said, I'm sure glad you're a basketball player. I said, why is that? She said, well, I hate football and can't stand football players. The group got quiet. And she told me later, she said, I had just gotten off her stepbrother to say goodnight. And the other girl called and said, why did you say that? She said, Dave's the best football player we got on the field. We had only for the football team that year too, by the way. And she said, well, I just told the truth. And the girl said, well, dear, sometimes you got to lie. Anyway, so then we went on, and as previously stated, I was drafted by 3 teams, the Montreal West, the San Diego Chargers, and the Green Bay Packers. And so she said, we'd gotten married then, well, we hadn't got married yet, we get ready to get married. She said, look here, I hate cold weather. She said, so I was negotiating myself, I said, you string them along as long as you can, but we're going to San Diego. I said, okay, baby, what did you say? By the way, when I came out of school, I didn't want to play I didn't go to school to play pro football. It was a whole different scenario than what you have today. I never thought about pro football until late in my senior year. And having the guy I played in, and I was playing left in, and the guy played right in, was drafted by the San Diego Chargers in the 3rd round. He came back and was telling how nice it was to be in the NFL, and AFL, and the money he got. And I said, hell, I'm better than he was. I should get some of this money, which I told my wife about, my girlfriend at the time. And she was all hyped up. We're going to San Diego. Well, we started negotiating, and halfway through the negotiations, about 3/4 of the way, Al Davis, by the way, was the negotiator who came to meet me from San Diego. He was a chief assistant with I think I'm trying to think who the coach was at the time. Anyway, he was talking to me, and he said, well, Dave, he said, we drafted you in the 3rd round. He said, we turned around and signed the 1st and 2nd draft picks, and we're running out of money. But we think there's a big coup to get Green Bay's 1st round draft pick in the AFL. So what we're going to do, we'll continue to negotiate, and whatever terms we come to, they'll be upheld. We're going to trade you to Buffalo. Because Ralph Wilson has money he can afford to pay it. So I called I guess fiance is close like that. I said, baby, San Diego's out of the question. I said, now the question is going to be between Green Bay or Buffalo Bills. She said, well, I've never been to Green Bay. I've been to Buffalo. She said, I don't care where you go. Now, she's seen this 6 feet that just came in. I know she would say. She hated cold weather. She hated it. So that's how I got to Green Bay. I come back. I got my notes something about, it was so much different in those days. Like I was in college, the schools were segregated, and the southern schools where blacks were forbidden to go to them. In the northern schools, it's just sparsely, maybe 3 or 4 guys to a team, maybe 5 at the most. And so it was hard to get a scholarship if you were African American. In fact, the average thing for an African American in those days was your father would pay for your 1st semester. And then you would go out for spring training in the spring. And if you look good in spring training, the school would then offer you a scholarship for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 3.5 ideally. But that was how it was. In fact, I found much later that that's how I got there. They had a group that had first a scholarship, a 1-year scholarship to an athlete from South Jersey. And I'm from South Jersey, by the way. And so I got it for that 1st year. If I hadn't done well in spring training, I'd been looking for a scholarship somewhere else. But then they gave it to me for 4 different years. I had 4 1-year scholarships. It was very common. In fact, the story that I heard was that Jim Brown, one of the greatest runners of all time, Hall of Fame himself, he didn't have the money to go to school either. And one of the rich alumni paid for his 1st semester at Syracuse so he could play lacrosse. Then he went up for spring training and ran over everybody, and he ended up getting a football scholarship, and that's how he started his career. And it's just interesting. With me, it was a little different. Like I said, I went to school. I wanted to get to school. First of all, I was committed to marriage, and I wanted to get to school just to get a job where I could make $100 a week or more, and marry this girl. And then when I got there and they started talking about the money with the Green Bay Packers, I said, well, I'll try it. What the heck, can't be that bad. And I went there and I walked in on the field, and I had a book. Sports Illustrated had done an article by Dan Curry called "The Key is the Key." And I had it laminated. I used to carry it around all the time. And about every game I read it. Not every game, but most games I read it before the game. Remind me of the keys and how to play football. When I walked on the field in Green Bay, the guy playing left linebacker was Dan Curry. The guy that wrote that article. I said, how am I going to beat him out for this job? And I said, well, all I can do is look good and study hard, look good, and hope that Vince likes me. That's how it was. In fact, my rookie year, Ray Nisky broke his arm, and so I went in and started, and we went to the runner-up bowl then, and we played of all teams. We played the Cleveland Browns in Miami, and I was playing red linebacker too because Dan Curry had that left side one on one. And I came right on Jim Brown, and he was on flip to my side, and that was a key. When he came what was the halfback slot, he was going to run the ball. Well, that was much of a key because Jim Brown ran the ball 75% of the time. So Jim started across the back, I'm on my side, I'm watching Jim, and I looked over, so our line opened up like Moses parted the Red Sea. I stepped into the hole and I lost that, and I looked, and I see the quarterback give the ball to Jim Brown. Here comes Jim Brown. Man, I was a young guy. I was a young kid. I jumped over my foot. I think not to hear the voice. Here comes Jim Brown. So I went over my mind real quick. Butt down, back straight, head up, hit on the rise, wrap, grip, take him down. And I did for about 1 or 2 yard loss. And I don't know how many. I know it wasn't the game anyway. And all the guys would pat me on the back, and I got up and I said, I just tackled Jim Brown. I'm going to make this somewhere in this thing. I'm going to make it because if they cut me from Green Bay, I'm going to get a film clip and send it to all 14 teams. Look at here, I can tackle Jim Brown. The National Football League was made up of guys who could tackle Jim Brown and guys who couldn't tackle Jim Brown. And I was one of the coulds. So I was so happy to it. That's how it was. A lot of things were different. When I was coming out, I went to the Gator Bowl, and I was the first African American to play in the Gator Bowl, and it was kind of interesting. We played in Jacksonville, and there's no integrated living in Jacksonville, so I couldn't stay with the white guys, and the white guys couldn't stay with me. So the team, they swore we would all stay together. So they put us all together, and we stayed in the same office team. And I can tell you the stories of later, what I'm saying office team, but it wasn't very pretty to me. Anyhow, I went up on the field, and just for the game, they came to me and said, Dave, he says, well, I missed some games. I got a bad shoulder injury. He said, while you were out, this guy, James Swab, another kid said, he's a senior. He played very well. So we're going to let him start, because this is his only chance as a senior. So we'll go to other bowl games, and you can start after this. I was disappointed. I said, okay. I wasn't disappointed about not starting. This little side thing. I had told my girlfriend, among other 17 other girls, that when I was introduced, I was going to wave to them. They wave by, on national TV. Well, after the game, they came to me, brought me my mail. They sent me my mail. Opened the 111 and said, I'm military. Said I was a rated expert with a rifle. Would take my gun to the game, and when he runs out of the field on national TV, I'm gonna shoot that big bear on 50-yard line. And so because they saw the threat, they decided not to stop me. Well, they said, don't feel bad. I didn't, except for one thing. I didn't want to be called a bear. I hate bears. This is Chicago Bears. But anyway, so that's how it was. And we played, and the series I went in with the start. You know, in those days we had to go both ways. We played offense and defense, by the way. And I'm there, and I'm sitting there, all set, and all of a sudden the play starts. I see a guy coming down on me on my right. So I turned real quick fade and gave him a good shot with the forearm. He went down, and I jumped back, balled up my fist, all ready to fight. He said, "Hey, nice hit, baby." I go, "Oh, okay." And then, "Yeah, thank you." And he went to the side. And then a little later in the game, maybe 4 or 5 minutes later, so maybe an hour, I don't know how long. Somebody's coming from my left, and I popped him real good. He said, "Hey," pat me on the butt, said, "Way to go," walked away. And I said, "This is a great guy. These guys are all right." Well, and when they got the whole game, I was in Jacksonville, St. Augustine for 10 days. The only time I didn't feel any tension was for 3.5 hours or 4 hours we were on the field doing that game. Because they made it feel like we're that good. And I just had nothing but good things to say about Georgia Tech. In '63, I went to Green Bay Packers. '64, Bill Curry came from Georgia Tech to our team. He'd been in that team. He told me, he said, before the game, Bobby died, told the whole team. I know none of you guys ever played with a black guy before. You probably never played against one. We're going to do that tomorrow. And he said, one thing what to do. I want you to remember one thing. You're a gentleman from Georgia Tech. I expect you to treat him like anybody else with respect and dignity. And only tell the story for one thing. I learned something right then. Things start at the top. To be rough, to use the rough vernacular, this Malaysia, so excuse me. They say defecation runs downhill. Everything comes downhill. When I got in the business, when I was in the beer business, when I would go to a new wholesale ship and I saw a dirty truck or a filthy lot or a filthy warehouse, I didn't blame the warehouse or the driver. It was the wholesaler. Stuff comes downhill. And Bobby died and set the tone. And to me, so that's how I lived all my life. Bobby died and was always one of my heroes for what he said. And so that was the way it was to break into the National Football League. And then later on, we went in and Curry got a little bump, and he told me when we were going against the Chicago Bears, all team, and Mike Dicker. Well, Mike had a reputation. Everybody was afraid of him. And they before the game, everybody told me, "Dave, be careful, Mike. Be careful." I said, "Wait a minute, hold it." I told the whole team, before the game, I said, "Listen, I know some of you guys were worried about me going against Mike Dicker. Well, I played against Mike Dicker in college. He went to Pitt, I went to Penn State. And I was part of putting him out of the game. We put him out. I said, Dicker doesn't scare me at all. If you guys are afraid of Dicker, I don't think you're worthy to be my teammates." The guys got all set. But anyway, I went to, and I did. What I didn't tell him was when I put Dicker out of the game, I was playing guard. I played a lot of positions in college. And we had to play. Mike Dicker, I know a lot of people, he was really picked to be an All-American because of his defensive prowess. And he used to come, when you were a sweep to the left, he'd come down the line real flat, and then he'd catch you, the guy before he could turn the field. Because nobody blocked that far in. But we decided that what we do is we would start the pull, the guards, and then we pivot. When they turn around and then catch Mike, stop him. And Mike came down there and held there for election. I took a step and pivoted around and caught him, and the guy went about knee high. He left the game, and everybody said, "Way to go, way to go." I really felt bad. It was kind of like a sneaky play, but I felt good. I felt good. So that, but anyway, so I helped. It didn't help only against Mike Dicker. Mike Dicker was probably the scrappiest guy I ever played against. He only weighed like 228, 230, so it wasn't hard to possess. But if Mike Dicker came across you, hit him, and you shed him, then went to make the tackle. Before you could make the tackle, he'd get up and come back and hit you again. The only way we could stop Mike Dicker was the other end, the linebacker line inside, we had to hold Mike to the very end, control it if you could, and then shed him just before the ball carrier got there, and then go make the tackle. So he didn't have time to come back on him. And even then, he was still be hitting you in the back when he made the tackle. It was good. And I used to fluctuate my weight. When I was going to play against Mike, I'd go down to 236, because I always felt, it's up here, always felt lighter. I don't know what I weighed. That weight, that quote, was weight we had to weigh in on Thursday. What I actually weighed on Sunday, God only knows, because I don't. I wouldn't go near the scale just because for what the time where I wanted to be, it worked me mentally. When I played against someone like John Mackey, I go up to 242. But Mackey was like 250, 245, 250. I felt stronger at 242, quicker at 236. That was it. It was just a funny time to play football. Great time right now, you know, people say, how do you, that thing is, but how people compare the football players of the day, Well, here's the problem. I'll tell you right now, and I don't know, I hope that the name reporters here don't bring this up the way I say it or analyze it further. I was the first man drafted by the Green Bay Packers, who were defending champions. I was the 14th person taken in the draft. Now, since Los Angeles won the championship last year, they had the first pick, the last pick of the first round, number 32. When I came out of school, the guy number 32 was the fourth man in the third round. That means that all these guys that come before him were second and third round picks if they had come out in 1963. And yet now, because of the economics of the game, return on investment the men got to get, then these guys are used contracts and everything else. And here's another thing: the size of the pool that's drafted from. When I was coming out of school, it was so big. But since then, schools have given up football, like Marquette. George Andre was the last guy, the last cast to play with the Dallas Cowboys. With Marquette, now schools giving up football. So now the pool is still big. Now the pool is shrunk. Now instead of going down for 14 teams going down that pool, you got 32 teams going to the pool. My rookie year, there's 38 men on the team. Now there's 63, 53 really, and then 10 more guys. So there's more teams going deeper into a pool that's even more shallow. Competition is such that I think that a lot of guys you see playing ball today would not even make the team back in the mid-60s. When we had 38 men, this took his best 38. We scrimmaged every day too, by the way. And we hit. I'm not, and I say that, that's what I said. Somebody said, please make sure if you write it up with so I don't get in trouble with Commissioner Goodell. But I played 10 years of Green Bay Packers. I took my 10 years salaries, just the base salary. I didn't count championship money, didn't count bonuses, which are big in my life and everything else. Just what they paid me for 10 years. Added up. And when I added up and got one single number, that number was left to 1/2 of what the guy plays today gets for one game. That's how it's going. It's got big outrageous. When I came out, I felt my heart that I was not ready for the National Football League at the end of my junior year. Now guys are coming out juniors, and not only are they coming out, but they're starting someone great. They just start. It's almost like they turned the NFL, instead of being a pro league, into a super college league. It's just the way it is, And now they've changed the rules and changed everything. And these guys now, we got hit. He got hit, and I got knocked out a couple times myself. You had to get off the field. Somebody would haul you off the field because it was a timeout, choice of the offense. Now, man, they can see a big hit with two guys hit, legal, and both hit, big hard hit, both of them fall out, timeout, come out and take care of them out the field. We didn't have it. All the defensive backs used to carry smelling salts in the sock. And when you got hit, they bring them up, pop the smelling salts and start to sniff it. And as soon as they did, they was, hey, give me those shots. Give me those shots. It went all around the huddle. Everybody went a little bit. Everybody had bees in the helmet. It was big. Yeah. And then, like I said, we had our team, we're talking about when you get like this now, and you have every 32 men you get the draft, the concentration down per team tends to level out. When we were playing, we took pride in the left side. Herb Bradley was on my left, Roy Davis on my right. I had support from the inside from Ray Niskey. If they set the defense up the wrong way, Roy Wood would be behind us. Roy Wood, Herb Bradley Willie Davis, Ray Liskey, Dave Harrison. When you were a quarterback, and quarterbacks call their own plays, most of them are right hand, most of them went to the right all the time. You look over to the right, there was possibly 5 future Hall of Famers on the field at one instant, at one time. In fact, during the line in Super Bowl II, I went to see Matthews, he and I were friendly, and I went to tell him how I thought I told him big game, and stuff you usually tell guys just beat. But anyway, I told him, he said, Dave, he says, first you want to know why we got so deep on linebackers. He said, in the AFL, the linebackers don't go any deeper than 10 yards. And that's the thing I see a lot of linebackers today. Is it's drawn up to go 10 yards, they go 10 yards and stop. Like they got anchored, but they can't move. If there's nobody in front of you, you go to 15 yards or 10 or 20 yards. You got to keep going long enough to put real shows in front of you, because it'll make the quarterback throw over you. And the second thing was, he said, they told him all week, don't throw the ball to your right. Don't go to your right. In the fourth quarter, he said, he lulled us to sleep. So he had Blendikoff on a quick slant. He threw it to Blendikoff. Herb Rowley picked it, ran it for the first defensive touchdown in Super Bowl history. And then that was it. Teams didn't go our way. That's why I look at my interception record. I was so happy. I'm very proud of it, because they didn't throw our way. You had to fight to get balls. Wasn't a lot of balls in the air. So it was just a whole different thing. And I had a lot of long talks with Marie Lombardi, and she was Vince's wife, and she was probably the most knowledgeable lady I ever knew about football. You had to be living with Vince Lombardi. And but one thing that she told me was that Vinny was the right guard on 4 of them 7 blocks of granite. He was that, and everybody ran to the right. So he was pretty much the lead guard. They also wore the old Notre Dame helmets instead of tips on the thing like that with no face mask. So his face the helmet came here, the face just sit out there. And she's talking about the time he played against USC. The big guy in USC came in and beat him up and hit him on the mouth. And he came home after the game. His mouth is all swollen. She said the only place she could kiss him was on the left earlobe. His face was so swollen. She said, Vince would never quit. Never had to quit in. That's why Vince was so successful. Vince Lombardi never asked to do something that he hadn't done or would have done if he had the ability to do it. I have other coaches come and ask the impossible, or say, "Oh, this one I want arm screen, but you missed the play, you didn't do this," and the defense didn't call for you when you're a man or something. Vince knew the game, and he got on raised cane with us all the time, but you knew that he wanted one thing: for us to be perfect. And he's been quoted saying, we chase perfection, but the only man was perfect was crucified. But on the way to perfection, he got to pass excellence, and he expected every one of us to perform at a level of excellence. And that was it. And we felt it. And I know you've always heard him say in the videotape, say, "You guys grab him. If he saw the guys today, he'd have him cardiac. I swear to God. I never saw such a lousy tackling in my life. I mean, I'm talking about high school, college, or pro. And the teacher said in high school, they don't tackle. Like I said, when I was getting ready to tackle Jim Brown, I kept my low, my back straight, head up, hit it, and hit my shoulder pad into his waist, arms behind his legs, pull him in, his feet leave the ground. He has to go down, and that's it. Now up there, now you got a 220-pound running back, or 210 running back comes in there, and a 185-pound defensive back trying to hit him with a forearm and knock him down. Are you crazy? It can't be done. He may rock, but he's not going down. The only way to get it is to hit him. The theory of tackling is very simple. Your move is center of gravity. Anybody knows anything about physics, every person's center of gravity, whether he's thin, tall, fat, or skinny, whatever, is right at your waist. If you move that center of gravity that much, you can't keep your balance. But your center of gravity is off, you're going to go down. So you hit him right there with your shoulder into his midsection, lift, down he goes. And if I were going to coach today, I think I spend half a day, half a practice least 1 or 2 days a week, just teaching the guys how to tackle. When you come up, when the guy got the ball, and you come up on it, you watch these guys, the feet are like this, and the guy makes a move, and these guys slip, and the guy runs in it. When you approach a guy to tackle, your feet should be shoulder width like this. So if he goes, you can go with him. You don't lose your balance. Hey, what's my broken? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's it. He always makes these out. That's it. Man, I could not kill this one. Good, man. It's bad news. So I apologize, everybody. But I got a hot tip for you. Anyway. Yeah, the tackling is going bad. The whole thing, the whole. Yeah, I thought I turned it off. Wait. I'm a live with these things. I'm a live with these things. Yeah. It's $1,000 cell phone for a guy with a $2 on it. I can't figure out nothing about it. Anyway, I lost track. I'll get back on it. I tell you, one of the things I was talking about Marine Lloyd, one thing she told me, I said she's knowledgeable. 1958, one of the greatest games in the NFL. When the score was tied in the game between the Baltimore Colts and the New York Giants. This is the first overtime game in NFL history. And it's on TV. Somebody say this is what launched the NFL into where the position's in today. The offensive coordinator for that team was Vincent Lombardi. And the defensive coordinator for that team was Tom Landry. Well, this Giants game, Cleveland, New York won the toss. They went back. After 3 downs, they had 4th and 1. Well, Vince went to Jim Lee Howe, the head coach, and said, I think we should go for it. He said, any good team can make 1 yard. And we're a very good team. So give it to the guys, we can do it. Tom Landry said, no. I'd say the best bet is to punt the ball. Let my defense hold the United States Colts and then run the clock out. And we get the ball again. Well, Jim Lee Howe agreed with Landry. This was livid, she said. And of course, they punted. They got the ball. The United States comes downfield. Alan Mitchell runs it for a touchdown. They lose one of the biggest games, the World Championship, one of the biggest games ever. The game that made the NFL. But he always said they should have gone for it. Now, that was in 1958. Let's go 9 years in the future. 1967. We're at the Ice Bowl. Landry's on one side of the field, the body's on the other side of the field. It's a 3rd and 1 on the 1 yard line. We need to get this touchdown to win the game. Bart Starr comes over, you probably heard it. Bart Starr says, he suggested that we run quarterback sneak. And Vince said, let's run and get that out of here. Bart goes back and runs it, and he makes it real famous play in the Ice Bowl. We win the Ice Bowl. What they don't know is I talked to him, I don't mention his name, but the favorite, the Dallas Cowboys. He said he and others wanted to talk to Landry. And Landry said, listen, the only thing they can run in this position is a bootleg or a rollout. That way, if they have to, they can throw the ball away and then kick that field goal. And if they try to run it, it's only 16 seconds. Tell the guys to lay on the ball and don't get up to the clock runs out. And so he said he felt, as I told me, he felt that some of the defensive linemen were favoring outside for the bootleg and rollout. And White Sox got the middle, scores a touchdown, we win it. And we went home and Marie came to the miss to congratulate him about the great game. And the first thing I was about was, I told Jim Lee Howe we should have gone for the 1 down. 9 years later, he's still briefing about the fact that they didn't go for it. And I'll tell you one more thing about Vince Lombardi. This is going to cover this. He didn't say it lightly. Joe Hoy, the guy was on speaking right here, he can get you, and if you got it in the library downstairs, he has every game, the sheet, every play in the game. That game, I looked at the sheet. The Giants were 4th and 1 on their own 29-yard line. When I saw that, I said, well, hell, I might agree with Landon. 4th and 1 on their own 29, why am I go for it? But here's something else. Baltimore Coast that year had 2 field goal kickers. The 2 guards, left and right guard. The longest field goal they kicked all year was 24 yards. Not only that, they had one kicker, but one guy kicked short, one guy kicked long. They were terrible field goal kicker. And so Lombardi knew, he had done his homework. He knew that the chance of kicking the field goal against him was very little chance. So it wasn't as big a risk as it was seen that wasn't today's world when on 29 yards, everybody in the league could kick 50 yards down. So that shows how Vince took every detail. I mean, he was something else. This brings up something I wasn't going to talk about, but I'll say real quick. We played the Giants, and they had a play where the fullback came up, they was going to block me out. He came up, I just come across my left forearm and put my body in the hole. And they couldn't block me out. Well, what they did, the guy came up, they was going to block me out. When I went across him, the halfback never came up, he went outside. And they made about 8-9 yards in the play. They did it one time, and then the other linebacker and I got together, we decided what we do. We hit him with the right forearm, like this. When the guy went outside, I could go out and make the tackle. We stopped it. So 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks later, he said all week long he made me talk to the coach to run that play. Then about 3-4 weeks down the road, Vince came to me and said, Dave, remember that play that Josh ran on you? He said, I'm going to tell Phil to show you run that 4 or 5 times in practice because I feel you might see it again. What had happened was, I'm going to show these to teachers. After we played the Giants, they played the St. Louis Cardinals. Every team sends the last 2 games the team is going to play. That means the Cardinals got the game that we had against the Giants. They saw that play. And Vince figured they may try and run that play. And that's what happened. And they ran the first and second play of the game. I played the way we lived, and I stopped it, never saw it again. That's how, I just said sort of one reason, not that, but the Vince Lombardi was so prepared. So many things he did, he's so prepared. He knew what was going on. He knew, he just assumed and was correctly so that they were going to run that play against us. Well, I know it's getting a little late, I got to get going. Somebody up here, I think his butt with the sleep, I heard a snore. Yeah, I think it was a snore. I also got some awful bad breath. Okay, listen, I want to say thank you very much. I really do it. I'll be around if there's any more questions you want to ask me. Something I didn't cover. I don't know what it would be, but anyway. I'll be here to answer any question you have. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah,